All right, I think we're live. I'm still just actually waiting for the build to create or complete here and make sure that everything is good. So life is fun. I just discovered a bug and working through it, which is pretty much not what you want to do while you are getting ready to live stream. Yet here we are. So if you're watching, thank you for joining. I'm going to share my screen and then we will. Uh-oh, it looks like I'm frozen. Okay, there's just a lag. Let's see here. Okie doke. Entire screen. We'll see if I can get this to share. Looks like, yes, things are working. At least it says that it's sharing. So, okay, cool. There's a bit of a lag between myself in real time and then here, I'll open this so we have some more natural light instead of the overheads. So yeah, hopefully you're looking at the screen as well as I am, and perhaps even my face. I think I'm the only person who will be on the stream tonight. Everybody else is either traveling or indisposed, I suppose would be the polite way to say it. They just have other obligations. So last Wednesday, I believe, could have been Thursday, not sure offhand, but I did a full demo of how things work. Right now I'm in the Mississippi fair elections, so I'll switch over to another page just so I don't accidentally expose something that I don't want to. The main thing I wanted to walk through this evening is sort of what I consider to be the most key or most important part of Marigold itself. And then kind of hopefully, we'll see. I'll actually, I'm going to pull up anti-gravity here, which I'm not sure which window this will open on. So, okay, it opens on the window I didn't want it to. Let me put this over here on my other monitor because I have a working list. I've been using the chat agent as well as the IDE to write and generate some code. So it's, I really like anti-gravity. It's definitely not the subject of this live stream, but anyway, we should be able to ask some questions here and see how data insights or data stories work. So broadly, is before I get into this, I kind of want to talk about the overall vision and the way that I would hope data insights would work. And I've been testing this and working on this actively all day. So you're seeing, this is the real site. You can see it in the URL bar up here. That's marigoldinsights.org/insights. So once you have an account, this is available to everyone. Right now it's free to use, but there's a limit of about, I think, 1,500 inquiries that can be ran per day. I think that's right. And so because there's relatively few users, yeah, we're not going to hit that. And the way that I imagine that data insights will work is you should be able to ask it for the correlation or the relationship between two separate pieces of data. And it should be able to help you figure out if there's a story there, if there's something interesting or if there's not. And if there, it doesn't really matter. It's just you can ask it a question. And when you typically use normal artificial intelligence or normal software, it has a context window that's very limited. And so what a context window is, if you're familiar with AI, usually that will be somewhere between 200,000 and 2 million tokens. Sounds like a lot, but what that is in many cases is letters, not words, but letters. And so if you're asking it to look at a novel is typically 140,000 to 300,000 words. So at the low end, you get one book that you can query. Still pretty good. If you are talking big data sets and you have a data set like a voter roll, for instance, if you have 2 million rows and there are 50 columns in that data, you're talking about 20 million or more tokens that could be consumed, perhaps. And it's just not no off-the-shelf AI can do this, except for Marigold. So Marigold can hold an enormous amount of information and help you correlate a lot of different data sets in a way that's entirely unique to Marigold, at least as far as I know. And it's going to only get better over time as I sort of build it out. And what data insights should do is allow somebody to ask any question that they would like about anything that they would like, and then find the story that's in there. So if you're somebody who is part of an organization and you want to get people interested, there's two ways that most people would do this on social media. So the first one's outrage. You can post something that's either so stupid or so inflammatory that people just get excited about it and want to comment. And the second one is you can post something very interesting. And the interesting ones are a lot harder to write. They require a lot more proprietary research. And that's pretty much it. Unless you post like naked photos of pretty women or something, in which case it's kind of universally liked. But if you're a legitimate business, hopefully you're not doing that. If you're a legitimate business, you're probably more interested in things like, the data itself, or like what it could suggest, what you're exploring, what you're learning about, things like that. And so that's data insights, is you can ask anything about anything, and then you can explore the story from there. And through, unfortunately at the moment, some rigorous and stubborn prompting, you can get some pretty good results. And I actually, there's another feature that I want to show that I'll show first, because I think that data insights is going to take a lot of time. You know what? I've just talked a lot about data insights. Why up in that? Let's do data insights. So let me find here. I have a question that I'm running a test scenario on. And we're going to start off with stuff that's not related to voter rolls, but just something that I think will be interesting to people and has much more viral potential. So let me find this one. In fact, I think I have it on my clipboard. So I will actually just paste it in. Oh, no, I've put something else in my clipboard. Hold on a moment. We'll copy it again. I'll read it through. So if you're listening on audio or something like that, you can understand what it says. But this one is supposed to be kind of a viral hook. So let's see here. Clipped an eye out. Here we go. The question is this. Is there a statistical correlation between the frequency of reported UFO sightings and the expansion of high-speed fiber internet infrastructure across the United States? I ran this once earlier. I ran into a bug, and I haven't run it since I think I fixed the bug. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to enter that question, let it run, have a sip of tea. All right. So Mari, which is the assistant, it's really just a modified version of Google's Gemini, is doing some work. And before this, she'll take about 20, 30 seconds for it to generate. Depends on how big it is. If I open this, it will take me to 538, which I guess I can do. So I'll open this in a tab. I should get a 404 or something else. We'll see. You see, yeah, so I got a 404. All right. Be slightly patient here and give her a few seconds. And I'll go ahead and type a message just in case she runs into an issue. So I'll say, I don't see anything. Can you please update this story and keep the data in the browser working memory? We'll see if that works. Okay, there we go. So she's already got it. So she says, let's see here as we explore. We see a striking 0.84 positive correlation. That means that as people are, or that there is some sort of relationship between high-speed fiber optic cable and local reports of aliens. She says, in kitchen table terms, as neighborhoods light up with blazing fast gigabit internet, people are spending more time looking at their phones outside on the porch, setting up smart security cameras to scan the night sky. and sharing skyward curiosities in local neighborhood groups. While some might jokingly point to little green men downloading fiber packages, statisticians recognize this as a classic case of observational bias. Better digital infrastructure and connected devices simply give us more eyes and glass lenses watching the heavens than ever before. All working memory shards remain securely cached. We don't care about that. So you can see it's a pretty dang highly correlated thing. And I could ask it any sort of other questions. My intention or hope for this particular live stream is that others might come in and help me give some ideas, and we could test the software and see where things break. But since it's just me here, I wonder if I can dive a bit deeper. So let me turn off my presenter hat and turn off my curious person hat. By the way, this is a question that the AI generated for me to ask the AI. Like the AI itself, the same exact AI generated questions for me to ask this particular version of the exact same AI. So theoretically, these should work pretty well. Let's see if, how about this? Does the population density of a specific area correlate to UFO sightings? And other misspelled sightings. Sightings, not citations. Okay, correlate to UFO sightings. So, in other words, are they more common in rural areas or urban areas? I have no idea. This is a wild card. It's not a test that I've had before. But you can see that she's appended, which means added to the end, a new section here. And it looks like she's continuing to add more information. So I'm right now, in terms of this live stream, I am thrilled that A, I have not dropped connection, and B, it is working. There's some oddities here, like things aren't being parsed properly and all that I'll fix. But nonetheless, I'm going to scan through this real quick. So basically, she'll fix this if I ask her. In fact, they will. But we're seeing if there's less than 100 residents per square mile, this is where the most sightings are. If you're kind of mid-sized, like 100 to 1,000 per square mile, there's a fair amount of sightings. And then if you are very highly dense, you have a cut. So it's about, let's call this 100% of 78.4. That's about 2/3 of 78.4. And then this is about a quarter-ish of third or a quarter, somewhere in there. I don't know what the exact equation would be. It'd be like 3/13 or 5/13 or something. But anyway, that's kind of interesting. I don't know the answer to that. But if I continue to scroll, I can see I've got some more information. Looks like she's just done the same thing 3, 4, 5 multiple times. I'll because I'm pretending that I'm a user here, I'm going to complain. So I'll say, it looks like you just posted the same section 4 to 5 times, and I can't read the x-axis labels. Can you please just post the section once and make the x-axis labels more readable? Usually she passes this test, but we'll see. We'll roll the dice here. She's working on it. You can see her trying. She got it close. She got it better. It's just not perfect. So there's a duplication issue in some of these charts. Nonetheless, it's still pretty cool. And so right now what I'll do is I'm just going to clear this out. Unfortunately, there's not a way to go back right now. So I have to click on one page and then click back to it, and it'll take me back to the home screen. So the rest of these are ones I haven't tested yet. These are just test cases I've come up with or actually asked the AI to to come up with to test my own AI in the last hour. So I haven't even read this one yet, and I don't know what it's asking. We'll read it together. So all I'm doing is copying it in. And this is another general question. It's not about voter data. But let's look here. So if you follow me on X, thank you first. But, you know, I write a fair amount about Bitcoin, or less than I used to, but still maybe more than I should, or a lot nonetheless. This question is, how closely does the historical price volatility of Bitcoin track against the volume of global avocado production over the last decade? No idea. I've never run this test case before. I have no idea what will happen. You can see that my previous question here is down here. So if I wanted to, I could click back into this and revisit that story. Theoretically, that was broken earlier. I tried to fix it, but let's see what happens here. I have no idea. Okay, so she wants me to stream this. You can see that I need to fix this button. What streaming does is it takes the data set that's public and in most cases very large. And because this AI is Gemini has a very large context window of about 2 million tokens. But the way that Marigold itself works is a complex interaction between what happens in the server, what happens in your browser and your machine, and the browser can use different RAM settings, different database settings, and then what you actually have in your personal computer. And so there's a complex interaction, and the tokens get consumed by all sorts of things. So when you use Gemini inside of Marigold, it's probably not the full 2 million. It might be, 800,000, it might be 400,000, it might be 1.5 million. I don't know. It depends on who you are. It depends on what things look like and how it works. But streaming allows you to move it to a place where it's in working memory, so you can access it during the session that you're active in. And eventually you can actually save the story or save it to your own particular hard drive. And then your local computer, next time you log into Marigold, will be able to have all the same data, all the same story, and you can just continue that investigative research as much as you want. It's really useful for journalists or authors or people that are exploring complex issues around public health, or even price mechanics with stocks or voter data. Anything that's really, really large and hard to correlate that you previously haven't been able to analyze in tandem is possible with Marigold. And right now, Marigold is free. It won't be for that much longer. It will be free for everyone with some limitations, just because as more people start to use it, the people that are trying to use it to actually conduct business and investigate things that are important to them will get cut out, because the quota is shared. It's 1,500 messages a day for all users. And if I have 1,000 users, that's 1.5 messages each. That gets used really fast. And so at some point I'll have to charge, not because I'm a super greedy capitalist, although that's also true. But at the same time, I have to upgrade things and allow people to use tools that work. And so I have to pay for those, and it's unfair for me to pay for things that others use without asking for help. And that's where we are. Regardless, we're looking at Bitcoin volatility and global avocados. So I'm going to skip over this because I haven't read it while I was talking. It looks like there's basically no correlation. What does she say? Basically zero. So that's kind of fun, right? So at least I get an answer. I can see that the Bitcoin is a nightmare. It's just up and down, which anyone who's a Bitcoiner would know. And then avocado production seems like it's slightly increasing. So that's pretty cool. I'll run through one other of these. I've also not been able to test this live yet. So let's see. These questions are not great. I don't love them, but we'll run one through. So let me do my little trick here so I can get back to where I was. we'll ask this question. How do the active voter registrations in Hinds County, which is Jackson in Mississippi, compare with historical national inflation rates since 1980? I don't like that national inflation because comparing national inflation with the local voter data set is like apples and oranges. So we'll get rid of that. We'll ask it a different question, totally an untested one. Compare with, let's say, local graduate. I don't like this at all. I wish I had somebody else here to help me write things or come up with good questions, but I'll just make one up. So instead, let's say, what is the correlation between high school graduation rates? We'll give it 3 variables. The average value of a home and political party affiliation nationally. I have a follow-up question for it. If it gets this one right. All right, so she's going to kind of work in the background here while it's running through. Hopefully, at the very least, you're understanding that this is a pretty powerful feature. Kind of, like I said, you can ask anything about anything and then get some responses. I can click this button to allow streaming. Oh, wow. Okay, so once you do that, it happens pretty much quickly. So she says, when we look across counties nationwide, yada, 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 numbers tell a story of interconnected factors. Stable housing and strong schools consistently align with specific electoral trends across both rural and urban America. So high school graduation rate, median home value. Okay, cool. So my follow-up question, if this doesn't crap out, I see she's thinking and using a lot of memory. We'll see, maybe in a couple of seconds it'll come back. Oh man, this happened to me last stream as well. Okay, let's see. Well, at least I can get off of it and come back to it. Let's see if I can open this back up. There you go. My story disappeared. Now it's back. Let's see if, so she's repeated herself. Oh no, these look different somehow. Cool. Oh, I see. She was just working on it, So if the house is if the average house value is more expensive, basically, she says here, that Democrats tend to get more of the votes, at least over the last decade. Kind of makes sense, I suppose, but that's kind of more of maybe a feature of cities, I would assume. If I had, this live stream, I'm going to try to wrap in the next 5 or 6 minutes. So, I might explore this later on my own. If it's interesting to you, I certainly encourage you to log into Marigold and create an account and explore it yourself. And, if this is interesting, I could create a playbook, which I'll go through in just a moment and see kind of what's going on. She has educational attainment. So I see. So she allows me to save it to my local folder. Okay, I need to relink. We'll do that. Let's go. Boom. This should drop me back in. So we'll just test this real quickly live. This is like a one-click setup. So what I'm doing is I'm just introducing Marigold Local on my machine. I'm using a Mac. Here, click allow to allow my website to talk to my local folder. I type in my PIN. So I've done all that. Should unlock the workspace. It should push me back into data insights, but it doesn't. I don't want to do that because I don't want to accidentally expose voter PII. At any rate, it should be saved there. It's a bummer that it didn't quite work. Another thing for me to fix, but that one's pretty easy. It's just a a little bit, it's affixing the redirect. So it's just editing one link. Not too bad. Cool. So I can save this, and next time I come in, I can explore this. And of course, because Marigold is awesome, I can also just see all my recent chats. Right now, it only shows the most recent 4, but the other ones are kept usually on the user's device. Sometimes they're persisted in the browser memory. I don't believe they're typically saved in the server, but don't quote me on that. So I still think it's definitely private, because the rules there are very strict and hard to work with, but strict. So anyway, I can come back to this and investigate it if I want. I'll briefly want to talk about playbooks, and then I'll talk about groups, and then we'll wrap it for today. So what a playbook is, I went through this last week, but just to kind of rehash it, I suppose, is a playbook. Right now, there's only 9, and most of these are based upon things that help Mississippi fair elections and other people that are interested in elections. That's the group that I originally was building Marigold for, and for whom I'm still trying to make sure that it's as functional as it possibly can be. These are the things that most people look at when they look at voter rolls and any sort of anomalies in the civics data that exists within that data set. But playbooks, shortly, right now, you can see they're just 9, but shortly there will be a full playbooks like app store, or you can kind of think of it as like a shop, and you can buy or not buy, maybe eventually, who knows. You can use playbooks that people publish to your group, which is just you and a few friends or a few others who are interested in the same things, who've sort of approved each other or approved each other's accounts to collaborate. Or you can view the public ones. Most of my searches will be public, and you'll be able to run my playbooks through soon. It's kind of, I think, probably what I will show on Wednesday is I'll go through data insights in less detail and then spend more time on playbooks. But if that like UFO question was interesting, or the Bitcoin avocados was interesting, or the final question I had around political party affiliation, average home value, and I don't know, it was a third one, graduation rates, not sure. Whatever those 3 things were, if that was interesting to you, I could say that as sort of like a search recipe. And so, normally when you go to Google, you might search like what kind of truck is most popular this year, something like that, kind of searching for single things. And by using specific Boolean operations, which is a fancy way to say and, or, so, include this and this and this or that, but not this, is the way that a Boolean construction works. And these are searches or playbooks that you can run across a variety of data. And so if somebody comes up with their own statistical method to validate something, it's really useful for, say, crawling through public health data or something like that. Well, they can make that available to anybody. And perhaps that same statistical algorithm, because it's really just math, is interesting to somebody looking at, say, home values or obesity rates, or if elevation affects cancer rates, or like, I have no idea. I'm thinking about health because I'm hoping that my great aunt Judy is watching, and she's a nurse. So it's just kind of on my mind. But at the same time, you can kind of throw anything you want at this. Like the UFO questions off the wall, and the AI came up with that. I didn't. I'm not a huge alien person, although I think it's fun to think about. It just came up with that, and I was like, cool, let's throw it at it and see what happens. And here you are. But this is what playbooks will be, and what they are is they're recipes that you can run to extract insights from any sort of data set. But currently there are statistical things and also specific things that are most relevant in voter data sets. But eventually this is going to be an entire gigantic e-commerce store of different statistical things you can throw at any problem in the world. And the more people who use it, the better the analysis is. And hopefully we, solve some of the problems, whether those are civics related, voting related, health related, crime related. I have no idea. I have no idea where this will go. And the goal is to just empower the user so that wherever it goes, we're, leveraging data for good and making the world more interesting and understandable via its employ. So my final thing here, as we just crossed 6 p.m. my time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern, is I'm going to show just briefly what I did with groups. And so groups have existed for some time. Right now, there's State of Roosevelt and there's Acme, and a few others that exist. I'll be creating more, but the user group has been intentionally small. I've not done a lot of marketing, although others have encouraged people to join. We've got about 10 users right now. If I wanted to explore and join groups, I would just click here, and then I could click explore and join groups, and I can see the groups that I want to explore. Right now, there's only two that at least right now are showing up. One is this civic data sandbox. This is the global one. This is for if you want to look at Roosevelt State, which is just the demo data set. And the other one is for Mississippi fair elections. So if I wanted to click in here, I could look at, whatever it might be. I could also change and, provide a new photo if I wanted. I could, have a new group description. So if I were creating a group around people that write science fiction stories for hobbies, I could do that. It could be science fiction writers by Kyle or Cubby, as I'm known on Twitter. I could have, Georgia fair elections, Tennessee fair elections, Wyoming fair elections, whatever it might be. I can invite people in and others can request to join. If you view details and apply, you can just say, hi, I'm volunteering, and then the administrator will evaluate your application and decide if you're a legitimate person or not, so on and so forth. And so you have this, which should be working. You'll be able to choose photos, but right now this has actually took up like 2 hours of my day today. It was really annoying, and I still don't have it done. And these pictures and things like that should also be in data insights as well. However, regarding groups, you can create your own groups, you can share things. And the amazing thing is that as you're exploring and people are coming up with playbooks or those sort of recipes that I described before, you can go through and use group level playbooks. So if you're in Mississippi, you can come up with very granular, specific things that work very well for Mississippi that might not be as applicable to Alabama for some reason. I don't know. And then if they work really well for Mississippi, you can publish a version of that playbook or that playbook itself to anybody in the whole country of the United States or anybody in the whole world who wants to look at similar data. And then they can do things without having to join your group. So if your group is a tight-knit group of researchers, like you're 3 or 4 people who are professors at a university or something, or teachers, and you're just trying to come up with the best insights you can generate those playbooks and you can try to impact the world, but you don't need to have 25,000 people in your own little group, making you confused and making it really hard to track what people are talking about. You can just keep your group small, but its impact large. That's the whole idea behind Marigold Insights. And this is all I have to say on tonight's live stream, because I don't see any comments in the chat, and I think it's good enough for now. So I hope everybody has a good night. If you've watched live, thank you. And if you watch in the future, thank you as well. I know that it's a lot of time to ask for 30 minutes to look and learn about somebody's project that you don't really have personal investment in yet. But soon, maybe it'll be something that's useful to you and helps you accomplish some goal that you've set out for yourself. And at the very least, think of me in about 3.5 months, maybe 4 months, when you're working on your New Year's resolutions and trying to come up with the best way to have a productive 2027. I hope that Marigold Insights can be part of delivering the value and the insights that you would like in the coming years ahead. So that's all I got. We're going to end the stream here. Thank you guys for joining, and I don't know, good luck, good night. Hope you guys have a great day tomorrow.